Hey there, welcome to Freelance Friday. If you're in the social media world, I know you know that short form video is kind of everything right now, but the truth is it's actually changed quite a bit since it first got introduced widely thanks to TikTok in, 2020, 2021, where it really kind of started to take over. And it can be hard to keep up with because pretty much all the platforms nowadays allow you to do short form vertical video. The rules feel different. Engagement seems like it's slipping. How do you know what to focus on? And those questions are exactly what we are going to talk about and focus on today, thanks to a study that Metricool recently released. Metricool is my social media scheduler of choice. They also sponsor this podcast, and they just did a really comprehensive short form video study for 2024. They compared YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, and TikTok videos to kind of share what's working, when you should be posting, all of the good stuff. And I'm going to dig into some of the highlights for you here. Also, if you're somebody who's looking to create video content, I've got an invite for you. I'm going to be hosting a content workshop. It's totally live, totally free, and it's going to be totally fun as well. I heard so much good feedback a couple of episodes ago for my kind of, what's getting in your way of creating content video that I decided I'm going to create a whole workshop around getting you motivated to create. I just think it's far too important. And I don't want you to hold yourself back. I don't want us to be thinking about this message that we've got in our heart and souls and not actually putting it out there. So it'll be a fun pep talk. We'll do some fun activities. I'll help you develop a framework that's going to be sustainable and achievable for you, no matter your lifestyle or your goals. So be sure to RSVP. It's totally free. It will not be recorded. So do attend live, and let's get into the episode. Now, if you want to read the full study, you can, of course, check it out on your own. I'm going to leave a link for it down in the show notes if you want to check them out. You can also, of course, always use my code LaTasha at the link in the show notes to try Metricool for free. You can use that code for 30 days free on any of their premium plans. But they didn't ask me to make this full video or anything. I just was like, there's so much good stuff in here that we've got to freaking talk about it. So let's freaking talk about it, okay? So I won't go over too much, of the nitty gritty. The sample sizes, they talk about that, how many YouTube accounts and videos they studied. It was in the tens, if not hundreds of thousands for each of these platforms. So just keep that in mind that the data is pretty good. They didn't just survey 5 people and write a report. So I always love to hear that. And then they've also got a criteria for how they're categorizing different account sizes. And this is important because they do a bunch of comparisons throughout the report between the different account sizes. So for me, most of my accounts, like Instagram and YouTube at least, would fall into the big or huge category. My TikTok would fall in the medium category, which is 2 to 10,000. Big is 10 to 50,000 and huge is 50,000 plus. So just keep that in mind. We'll reference back to it, of course. So the first key thing to think about here is view count. Like, just what is the overall reach of these videos? Is it still effective? Is it still worth our time? And they looked at the average number of views for each network short form video content. And surprise, surprise, probably not a surprise, TikTok is winning at this still. The average number of views for TikTok videos is 18,173. That's a lot, right? I was pretty surprised by that. Now, obviously, we got to keep in mind that is, an average. So we are competing here with, I don't know, Kim Kardashian. I don't even know if she's on TikTok, but, these huge influencers and creators. So keep that in mind. But that is still a really big number when we compare it to YouTube Shorts. The average views on YouTube Shorts are only 646. That really, really shocked me. But I can speak anecdotally to that and agree that my YouTube Shorts, some of them do all right, but most of them get far less views than my long YouTube videos or even than some of my TikToks and Reels. And then, yeah, Reels, an average of 16,000 views, and Facebook Reels, an average of 8,000 views. There's another page on here that goes into account size versus view count. And the long story short is the bigger the account, the more views across platforms, which isn't really surprising to me, but It kind of is because I feel like there's a rumor going around right now, or a theory, I suppose, that you should start your Instagram account over, or you should start, all your social platforms over because they are rewarding new accounts and they don't like us old accounts that maybe have accumulated a larger number of followers and have low engagement. And I don't know if there is truth to that. This data doesn't really support that. But, as always with any of this stuff, you got to test things and make observations for yourself and make that decision. As far as engagement rate, YouTube Shorts is actually winning. So it's interesting because they are getting the lowest number of views, but the most number of engagement. So an engagement would be like a comment, a share, a like, a dislike, even. YouTube Shorts has a 5.91 engagement rate. Compare that to the lowest engaged with this, which is Facebook Reels at 2.07. And then TikTok and Instagram Reels are in between. Really, Instagram Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts are all pretty similar. They are conversational platforms, but it's just really interesting that Facebook is not. And again, anecdotally, that tracks for me. Whenever I do get on Facebook, I always get served up Reels. And honestly, sometimes I watch them. I cannot tell you if I've ever left a comment or a like or anything. It's just it's almost like Facebook Reels have almost replaced Facebook ads, don't you think? Like they're kind of just, oh, this is in my feed while I'm going onto Facebook Marketplace or messaging my grandma. I kind of get that vibe. Posting frequency. This is a big question that we all get all the time. And this is one that they broke up by account size. So tiny accounts, they've got small accounts, medium accounts, big accounts, and huge accounts. The long story short here is larger accounts, which are getting more views, are posting more often. This totally makes sense because if you are a huge TikTok account or a huge YouTube channel, you likely have support, whether that is a social media manager, whether that is, this is your full-time job or a virtual assistant or whatever. Or you probably just have more content to, repurpose and recycle and more data to lean into and all of that stuff. So it makes sense. But I think what I'm learning from that is that we should post more. Like if we want to grow, you should definitely post more. And it looks like TikTok, huge accounts are posting zero point 0.9 TikToks per day. So basically one TikTok a day. YouTube Shorts 0.66. So that's about every second or, so day. Instagram Reels 0.55 per day, so every other day maybe, and Facebook Reels 0.38, so maybe every third or fourth day. So we can kind of look to that as the bar, like that is the goal. I would say that we should be looking to what the huge accounts are doing if we have the content for it and, posting a lot, frankly. They also go into comparing view counts across YouTube Shorts versus YouTube, regular length videos. And no surprise that longer videos are getting the most views, but YouTube Shorts are actually getting the most likes and the most dislikes, which I can speak to for sure. And I think that is probably just because of the UI, right? Like on a YouTube video, even if you're watching on your phone right now, you kind of have to be intentional about liking or disliking. Whereas on YouTube Shorts, it's just right there. And then also we've been trained by the other platforms like TikTok and Instagram that that's just kind of something that you do. I also have a theory that YouTube Shorts viewers are very young compared to those who view my longer videos. And I think that, liking or definitely the disliking kind of is a little bit, I don't know, just tracks for them. They go pretty deep into best times to post, and I'm not going to go through every single one of these pages again. You should definitely download this report for yourself and go through it in depth for each of the platforms. But the quick tip here is across most of the platforms, most social media managers are posting around 6 p.m. That's kind of the standard time to post. But when the actual best time to post tends to be around like midnight or 1 a.m., which is mind blowing, right? Like whenever I post a reel or just any type of social content when I'm laying in bed, can't sleep, I'm just like, this is going to do terribly. I don't even know I'm doing this. But you know what? They often don't do terribly. They often do really, really well. So again, that's just anecdotal. But maybe we need to actually start being a little more intentional about that. And why is that? Why is that, right? Well, I can think of two reasons. Number one, if I'm laying in bed and can't sleep and thinking about, oh, Instagram, whatever, maybe other people are doing the same thing. right? But also, there's probably less competition. If the majority of short form video content is being posted at 6 p.m., when everybody is just getting out of work and, thinking about dinner and running around and, kind of still stressed out from the workday, we've got a lot to compete with. Whereas at midnight or 1 a.m., we don't really have much to compete with. I think you're also capturing more international, more global traffic. I know for me, I've got viewers and listeners who are in, Europe and Africa and Asia, and that is actually a time where they're awake. They also go into days of the week. And again, I won't go through every single platform in detail, but something I found interesting was weekends for some of these platforms at least seem to be good. I experienced that recently. I posted something on Sunday, and for the first time in a while, I was like, oh, is my Instagram engagement back? Like, are people alive again? Is my post good again? And again, it's same thing. If I'm sitting around on a Sunday, other people probably are too. And I think there's less competition and I think there's less marketing content posted on Sundays or Saturdays. People are more in just like a hanging out vibe. And I think that's just more conducive to leaving meaningful engagement and things like that. So in this report, they break down platform by platform. And something I found interesting about the TikTok section was that, again, those huge accounts are posting the most. They're posting basically one TikTok a day. And something else that huge accounts are doing on TikTok is posting longer videos. We've talked about it before that TikTok is really trying to make long videos happen, I think. And it's just interesting because I think a lot of us are afraid of posting a long video. We're like, oh my gosh, TikTok started as these really short videos and we're going to scare our audience away if we're posting long videos. But these huge accounts that have established communities that maybe have a bit of authority in their space, they're not letting that scare them away. They're leaning into it. And it's kind of one of those what came first, chicken or the egg type of situations where are they becoming huge accounts because TikTok is pushing them because they're getting people to watch longer? Or have they already built this amazing community and their community is just down for whatever they're going to post? It's hard to say, but this is the average length of popular videos by account size 437 seconds or 7.5 minutes for huge accounts. For large accounts or big accounts, as they call it, that's 7.48 minutes. Tiny accounts are 2.6 minutes. So we're seeing a vast discrepancy there. I think community is important. I think that's the takeaway we've got there. The trends continue on Instagram. Huge accounts are posting about every other day, whereas big, medium, small, and tiny accounts are posting far less frequently. Engagement rate is actually higher on those small accounts, though actually those tiny accounts engagement rate is higher. This isn't super surprising. My theory is that when you are a true tiny account, you've got a lot of friends and family and they love what you do and they're supportive, so they're going to engage with you. And I also think some of that trust kind of wanes the bigger that you get. People start to see you as, oh, they sold out, or they're kind of just like a spam bot or whatever. They're not my friend from high school anymore. So that's my theory there. Nothing really too surprising. The trend continues on Facebook Reels as well. Huge accounts are posting the most. And on Facebook in particular, Saturday is the day where Facebook Reels actually receive the highest amount of views. And my theory on that is, yeah, people are doing family stuff or they're going, the only reason I really use Facebook groups is to go on community groups and see what's going on in my town or city and things to do. Or maybe I'm going to buy something on Facebook Marketplace. So again, it kind of makes sense that people are also watching Reels when they're doing those things. So what are the key things that we can take away from this report? Well, first off, TikTok is going to be the best bang for your buck if you are focused on short form. Now, if you're focused on long form or a more, all-encompassing strategy, my recommendation for you is going to be different. YouTube. But TikTok is going to be where you are going to see the most potential reach. The average views tend to be higher on TikTok for short form video. Now, obviously, we know there is some nuance to this as TikTok may eventually be banned by the end of the year. So I wouldn't put all of your eggs in that basket. But my second takeaway is that you should be syndicating across video platforms anyway. So if you start on TikTok because you're looking to get the best bang for your buck, well, just repurpose over to all of these other short form platforms. Think about Facebook, think about YouTube Shorts. I think we often forget about those two. I know me, even as a YouTuber, I forget about YouTube Shorts all the time. So whatever you're doing, whether it's short form or long form, just make sure that you syndicate across all of these platforms if you can. I know it's a little bit of a pain, but using a scheduling tool like Metricool does make it a lot easier. Now, my third takeaway is that cultivating community really matters. And we know this, right? But specifically, we're seeing from the data that the view averages are higher among accounts that have larger communities. We're also seeing that they are able to go viral, find success when they're posting longer videos. And that's something that I know a lot of short form creators really struggle with is okay, I made people laugh for 7 seconds, 30 seconds, but how do I get them to actually buy something from me or, want to listen to a long form podcast from me or something like that? And I think the answer is community. We can't forget to really be social on social media and respond to comments and engage and all of that fun stuff. My next takeaway is experiment with timing. This is a big one that I am taking away. I don't know why. I always feel like, oh, this is my job. I got to post during the workday. And actually, posting during the workday is like the worst idea, to be honest, because people are busy and there's so much competition. So, experiment with posting on weekends. That's actually something I want to do on YouTube for my long videos. I was like, why don't I post the vlogs on like Sundays? I feel like that's when I watch vlogs. I don't know. Let me know if that's something you feel like would make sense. But yeah, same thing for short form, right? Experiment with days, times, and maybe it doesn't work for you, but the data is showing us that weekends and late nights tend to do quite well for short form video content. And I think my last takeaway is just that you still have to balance volume with quality. Yes, we're seeing these huge accounts are posting a lot, but something that's not written in this report, but that is, in my head as a social media professional is that, yeah, they probably have help. I think it is really hard to do all the things, every single platform, every single format when it's just you or, you don't want to do it sloppily. So I think that is still really important that if you are growing, if you are expanding, if you're syndicating across platforms, that you're putting systems into place, that you're using a scheduling tool like Metricool, like that you're hiring a social media manager potentially, or somebody who can help you out, and that you are starting with good stuff. Because, I say this all the time for repurposing. It's like if you start with a bad video, I can ask myself all day, why isn't this reel performing? But like, I know the answer. It's that it came from a bad video to begin with. So you don't want to just repurpose or just post everywhere and forget about that quality component. But let me know what you think about this report. I thought it was pretty interesting to see and quite helpful, especially when it comes to, timing and view counts and all of that stuff. Be sure to download it down below. I'll leave that link. You can also try any of Metricool's premium plans free for 30 days using my code LATASHA. That's LATASHA down in the show notes. And they also have a free forever plan, which is amazing. Lastly, I would love to have you at my content workshop later this month. I'll leave that link down below. It'll be a good one. I want you to create some content. We need to make it happen, okay? It's too important. And I've heard from so many of you that you were inspired a couple episodes ago by my gentle nudge, and this is just going to be more of that. So it's totally free. It'll be fun. Link down below. I'll talk to you then. Bye. No, I'll talk to you before then, actually. Bye.